بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. So we stopped on hadith number 223. Alright, from the chapter 114. We're going to read a lot of hadiths today. Today I didn't have a chance to look at anything else, so all we're doing is Adab al-Mufrad. That's it. We're just going to do this and then inshallah, tomorrow we'll continue on with the Sharia and then Bulugh al-Maram, inshallah. Alright, so 223. حدثنا الحسن بن عمر قال حدثنا معتمر قال ذكرت لأبي معتمر is معتمر ibn Sulaiman ibn Tarkhan al-Basri. Alright, so معتمر ibn Sulaiman ibn Tarkhan al-Basri. So معتمر قال ذكرت لأبي أبوه سليمان بن طرخان. Alright, لأبي حديث أبي عثمان أبو عثمان النحدي عن سلمان رضي الله عنه. سلمان here is الفارسي أنه قال إن أهل المعروف في الدنيا هم أهل المعروف في الآخرة. So this is similar. This is all going back to the narration that we took in our last class that was weak. But this is Hassan as far as it being mawquf on Sulaiman, not a statement of the Prophet ﷺ, but it going back to Sulaiman. So he said that the people of Ma'ruf. What is Ma'ruf? An easy definition for you to memorize for Ma'ruf. كل ما what? كل ما عرف حسنه شرعا. كل ما عرف حسنه شرعا. Alright, what does that mean? Everything that's known to be good from the deen. You know, like, so either Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it wajib, or he what? Or he loved the action. It was something that was mustahab, or something that was wajib. Either one of those two. All of that is from al-ma'ruf. Alright. So then he said, that's it. So he said, in ahl al-ma'ruf. So the people of ma'ruf in the dunya, they'll be the people of Ma'ruf fil akhirah, because they'll get the reward for how they lived in the dunya. Like I said, this chain of narration is Hassan. Alright, because of the Shaykh al-Bukhari. He's Hassan. His name is Al-Hassan, and also he's Hassan. Alright, but it's mawquf ala Sulaiman. Alright, so he said, فَقَالَ إِنِّي سَمِعْتُهُ مِنْ أَبِي عُثْمَانَ يُحَدِّثُهُ عَنْ سَلْمَانَ فَعَرَفْتُ أَنَّ ذَاكَ كَذَلِكَ فَمَا حَدَّثْتُ بِهِ أَحَدًا قَطْ. He said, and I heard my father, I heard Abu Uthman, he used to narrate this from Sulaiman, and I knew that this was that. فَمَا حَدَثْتُ بِهِ أَحَدًا قَطْ. And I never spoke about this hadith to anybody before he's speaking about it now. Alright, to finish this up, so hadith number 223, this is following up on this one. حدثنا موسى قال حدثنا عبد الواحد عن عاصم عن أبي عثمان قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم مثله. And this is mursal because Abi Uthman is not Sahabi. Alright, he's not from the Sahaba, he's from the Tabi'een. Alright, so the correct chain of narration outside of Adab al-Mufrad is that Abu Uthman, he narrates from Omar, who narrated from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. From Omar, from the Prophet. Alright, but yeah. Alright, the same hadith. Alright, we should have finished that up the last class. I should have just read it all because that was all connected to the last class. Now we need to take what we're going to take now. So, Bab 115. Bab inna kulli ma'rufin sadaqa. What does that mean? Well, they just come in and just start busting stuff like 2 seconds. You hear the door and you hear something fall. Subhanallah. كل معروف صدقة. Oh, you cheater. Now let me just look at the English translation and pretend like that. So every ma'ruf, and what do we say ma'ruf is?
Everything that's good.
What is it in Arabic? كل ما عرف. No, كل ما عرف حسنه شرعا.
I'm just listening.
Okay. What is it in English?
Anything that's good or wajib or
That's known to be good from the deen. Not known to be good from the people, but known to be good from what? The deen. For example, the people think it's good to celebrate the Prophet's birthday. Is that ma'ruf? No, because it's not from the deen. Alright, it's bid'ah. It's not from this deen. It has nothing to do with this deen. But the people think it's good, right? So no, it's كُلُّ مَا عُرِفَ حُسْنُهُ شَرْعًا. It has to be mashru'. It has to be from the Quran and the Sunnah. It can't be just from the people and like what they think is good, you know. So
what was the word of it? Is anything that's sinful?
Munkar, yeah. Alright. So this is chapter 115. Bab inna kulla ma'rufin sadaqa. Alright. Hadathana, so this is hadith number 224. حدثنا علي بن عياش قال حدثنا أبو غسان قال حدثني محمد بن المنكدر عن جابر بن عبد الله رضي الله عنهما عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال كل معروف صدقة. This hadith is in Bukhari. So he said all, just basically what the chapter said. كل معروف صدقة. So all forms, all good actions are what? Huh? What is sadaqah?
Charity.
It's charity. Alright, so it's giving charity. Because you don't just give charity with money, but you can also, you know, give it through good speech, a nice speech. You can give it through nasiha, you can give it through a dhikr, you can give it through helping people. So charity comes in different forms. Alright, so that's what he's saying. كُلُّ مَعْرُوفٍ صَدَقَةٍ. But that is if the person what? If that's what he intends. If he just does something good because it's a habit, you know, obviously, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. All the actions are based on intentions. Alright, so hadith number 225. حدثنا آدم ابن أبي إياس قال حدثنا شعبة قال حدثني سعيد بن أبي بردة ابن أبي موسى عن أبيه عن جده قال قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم على كل مسلم صدقة. So he said it's upon the Prophet ﷺ said it's incumbent, it's a binding upon every single Muslim to give charity. Alright. قالوا فَأَنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ. What if they don't find anything to give? He said فَيَعْتَمِلْ بِيَدَيْهِ. And here يَعْتَمِلْ, the asl of it is فَيَعْمَلُ بِيَدَيْهِ. So he should do actions with his hands. فَيَنْفَعُ نَفْسَهُ وَيَتَصَدَّقْ. And he can benefit himself, and then he can give what? Charity. You go work with your hands. Maybe you can sell the stuff that you make with your hands and do with your hands, and you can get some money, and then you can give money in sadaqah. Or you could use your hands to help people that need help. Alright, like for example, if a brother needs to have his whole bathroom retiled, and you know how to do it, so you go and you help the brother retile his whole bathroom. Yeah?
Sounds like someone I know.
Huh?
Sounds like
No, it's just an example, just an example.
Yeah, I can't make the calls.
I'm just messing with just an example, right? Alright. So yeah. So he said, وَقَالُوا فَأَنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ. And he said if he's not capable of that, أَوْ لَمْ يَفْعَلْ, or he's not able to do that, قَالَ فَيَعِينُ ذَا الْحَاجَةِ الْمَلْهُوفِ. He said, then let him help a person who's in need. Al-malhuf. Al-malhuf, it means what? Al-makroob, al-mustaghif. Al-makroob. What is al-makroob? Al-qarb. What is al-qarb? Shida'id, shidda. Al-makroob alladhi what? Yuwajih al-shidda. Yani, you know. So, al-makroob, al-mustaghif. Alright, so al-makroob is a person who's facing like major difficulties. He's in major difficulties. Mustaghith what? Istighatha.
Someone who's calling out for help.
Somebody calling out for help. Yeah. And is it permissible to do istighatha for a person? To call in a person for help? Like if I'm astaghithu bik, is that you Jews?
Hadr and Qadir.
Yeah, if he's hadr, qadir. Alright. So hadr means that he's present at the time of the istighatha. You can't be like these jokers, like these gang members whenever they get killed. And then they get, somebody sitting there like videotaping them at their last breath. And they're like, Mama, Mama. And he's calling on his mama, taking his last breath. And istighatha. And this is a form of istighatha. What's your mother going to do? How's she going to assist you What's she going to do to help you? You better start calling on Allah. But in his last breaths, who's he calling on? Calling on his mama. Allah musta'an. So, yeah, this is a form of istighatha. بالإنسان غير حاضر وغير قادر. غير حاضر, she's not present, and even if she were present, what? She can't return the life to your body. It's over. You better call on Rabbil Alameen. This is what happens. Alright, so al-mulhuf, al-makrub, al-mustaghith. So a person who's in difficulties and he's calling out for help. So it's permissible, for example, if you're drowning and you see a person standing there, and he's not handicapped or nothing like that. You see him standing and he's able, and you say, "Hey, help me! I'm drowning! I'm drowning!" Is that permissible? Yeah, as a person standing there, and the zahir is that he's qadir. You don't see him like sitting in it. I mean, the dude's in a wheelchair, and you're like, "Hey, man, help me, man!" That's just like foolishness, But yeah, again, you better start calling on Allah at that point. The only person that you got around you is the guy in a wheelchair, because y'all both about to die. Yeah, so, alright, قالوا فَأَنْ لَمْ يَفْعَلْ. So he said, and if he doesn't do that, قال فَيَأْمُرُ بِالْخَيْرِ. Then he commands with the good. And he commands the people to good. أو يَأْمُرُ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. The same meaning. And he commands with good. قالوا فَأَنْ لَمْ يَفْعَلْ. What if he's not able to do that? قال فَيُمْسِكُ عَنَ الشَّرِّ فَإِنَّهُ لَهُ صَدَقَةٌ. Then let him contain his evil. Like let him keep the evil that he has within himself to himself. He doesn't oppress anybody. And this will be his charity for the people. This hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. And all these hadith are similar. That's why we're just going to read through them all, inshallah. What do the questions look like? What is it looking like over there?
Struggling slaves says.
No, I don't want the questions. I'm just saying, how's it look? Are there actually people? Because we haven't been online for like, 2-3 days now.
13 active people.
All right, pull up. So let the question, because after this, we only have the questions. That's it. No other book. All right. So 226. حدثنا مسدد قال حدثنا يحيى عن هشام ابن عروة قال حدثني أبي. Who is his father? What are y'all laughing at? What is he doing? He's hitting you or something?
How are you hitting it? You would have heard it.
Let me know. I'll kick him out. All right. So Hisham ibn Urwa قال حدثني أبي. Who is his father? Hisham ibn Urwa. And then Urwa, obviously Urwa is his father, right? Huh? And who's the father of Urwa? Nobody knows. Urwa ibn Zubayr. All right. حدثني أبي أن أبا مراوح الغفاري أخبره أن أبا ذر رضي الله عنه أخبره أنه سأل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أي العمل أفضل. So he said that Abu Dhar, he asked the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم, which of the actions is best? قال إيمان بالله. To have iman billah. All right, obviously with action, not just with the iman, but the iman with what? With actions. Because like the ulama say, when iman is spoken of without Islam, فَيَدْخُلُ فِيهِ الْإِسْلَامِ الْأَعْمَالَ الظَّاهِرَ وَالْبَاطِنَ. All right, if you mention iman, then Islam is included in it. And this Islam are the actions that are what? If we speak of Islam and iman together, like we say this is Islam, this is iman, then Islam is what? The outward actions. And the iman is what? The inward actions, the beliefs of the heart, the beliefs that push those actions. All right. So if we mention iman alone, then what? Then it means both Islam and iman. So it's that iman billah. It means the actions, not just the beliefs, but the beliefs with the actions on the zahir wal batin. He said, "Wa jihadun fi sabilihi," and to fight in the path of Allah. Does this mean that we go and blow ourselves up? Huh? No, we fight the way that the Sahaba would fight, and it's something that's mashru', and a path that's mashru', without getting arrested. Huh?
So with the wali al-amr.
No, I mean that's if there is a wali al-amr. I mean, you don't need the wali al-amr's permission for defer,
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Because most of the times the Muslims right now are going to be fighting in self-defense. We're not in any type of position to wage war on anybody. Right now, waging war on people right now is like, for us, it's suicide. the weakest of all people right now. So right now we need to focus on getting back that strength, and that strength comes with the iman first. That's why he said al-imanu billah. Then he mentioned jihad fi sabilillah. All right, qala fa ayyu riqabi afdal, and he said which of the the slaves is the best to free. Qala aghlaha thamanan, the most expensive in price, wa anfasuha 'inda ahliha, and the most beneficial and the best with the people, where the people benefit. Qala ara'ayta in lam af'al, he said, do you see if I can't do that? Qala tu'inu da'iyan aw tasna'u li akhraq. What does that mean? We took this hadith already. What does this mean? Tu'inu da'iyan. What did we say that meant?
So, someone who's the R word.
No, that's akhraq. The R word. Da'iyan is faqiran. A person is poor. Yeah, poor. ضاعيا because of the ضيع يعني كل أمره إلى ضياع يعني ما عنده شيء. Alright, أو تصنع لأخرق, or that you help a person who is incapable, he's just clumsy in the R word. Yes. Maybe he has a handicap and he's not able to do something, so you assist him. You help him out in his needs.
Are you racist?
Huh?
Are you racist? I don't remember the R word.
To help a racist person?
No, clicked in.
We're already off to a bad start, aren't we, man? You came on a bad day. قال أرأيت إن لم أفعل, he said, can you see if I don't do that? قال تدع الناس من الشر, leave the people from your evil, from the evil. فإنها صدقة تصدق بها عن نفسك. For verily it is charity that you can give as charity from yourself. So if you can't do any of these good actions, because he mentioned all the different types of ma'ruf, the common things that people are able to do, and if you're not able to do that, then at the very least, what? Keep your evil away from the people. If you're not able to act, then don't sit at home speaking bad about people, spreading gossip about people, oppressing people, doing all this type of foolishness. No, just stay quiet. Just be a Muslim. Pray in the masjid. Leave. Stay quiet. Smile with everybody. Be nice to everybody. And just, die like that if you're not able to do all these good actions. Alright. So the last hadith of this chapter, 227. حدثنا أبو نعمان قال حدثني مهدي ابن ميمون عن واصل مولى أبي عرينة عن يحيى ابن عقيل, and also that previous hadith is also متفق عليه. عن يحيى بن يعمر عن أبي الأسود الديلي أبو الأسود الديلي, and it's Abu al-Aswad ad-Du'ali. What is he famous for? Hamza should be able to answer this question. If Hamza can't answer this question, then we have a big problem. Abu Aswad ad-Dili, but the popular name is Abu Aswad ad-Du'ali. What is he's a tabi'i mukhadram. What is a mukhadram? Tabi'i means what?
Second generation.
Yeah, he's a student of the Sahaba. Alright, mukhadram, it means what?
From the later students.
Oh my God. Check the...
No.
Check, it's gonna come up. Hamid will answer.
Oh, mukhadram. I didn't look. Someone...
You didn't look at what? There's nothing written anywhere.
No. Someone who was living during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, but didn't meet him.
Yeah, he was alive at the time of the Prophet, and he was a Muslim, but he didn't meet the Prophet ﷺ, so he didn't sit with him. Alright. Alright. So he's a muqadram. Alright. But now what is he famous for? You're not free yet. No, this is your question. This is you. No, don't look at nobody else to answer this question. This is all Hamza. If Hamza can't answer this question, and we're going to see next time he asks me for another class after Fajr. According to myth, not myth, but according to unauthentic stories and sources, Abu al-Aswad al-Du'ali. And as far as his name, even they don't know his name. Some of the people say that his name is Dhalim ibn Amr. Some of them say Amr ibn Dhalim. And like I said, they even have the ikhtilaf about his laqab, which is not his laqab, but his nasab Du'ali or Dili. But who cares? He's known, right? He's a thiqa, imam, Alright, he's famous because of the story of Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu commanding him to put together what? Are you serious? Ilm al-Nahu.
Or no, you because it was on.
No, I said it's right there in Tuhfatul Wasal.
I know it was unauthentic. That's why I said.
I said from unauthentic sources. I said popular by myth.
Oh, no, I know it was on Sheikh Mufrad.
There's nothing authentic about it, but that's the popular narration. That's what everybody says.
I'm all thinking something else. Like me with that.
No, I don't. 'Cause that class was only you.
No.
That was only you. There was nobody else in that class. Well, he was there, but he wasn't paying attention. He was just like, my son didn't know what was going on in Nahu. All right.
When he said, "Lem yathbut," and I said, "Okay," then I never looked at it again.
It doesn't matter. It's just that's the story. Any book of Nahu, they're going to say that the person that was commanded to put the Nahu together was Abu al-Aswad al-Du'ali. That's it. Khalas. That's what you're going to read in every single book of Nahu. Alright. So an Abi Dharr radiallahu anhu qala, so Abu Dharr, he narrates this, he said, qila, the thura comes from the singular word ad-dathar. Ad-dathar. Ad-dathru. What is ad-dathar? Ad-dathar is no, the asl of it is al-kathir min kulli shay. Alright, al-dathur, al-dathar is al-kathir min kulli shay. But it's used here to mean al-mal al-kathir. Alright, but here it's specifically talking about money, but it's used in the Arabic language to mean anything that's a lot of anything. Alright, so Ahl al-Duthur here, it means the people of wealth. Alright, called ذهب أهل الدثور بالأجور. How did they go away with all the ajr? Oh, they got all the reward. How? No, wait now. You had your chance with Abu al-Aswad, but you failed. Huh? Well, that's what he's going to say right now, right? He said, يُصَلُّونَ كَمَا نُصَلِّي وَيَصُومُونَ كَمَا نَصُومُ وَيَتَصَدَّقُونَ بِفُضُولِ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. So they pray like we pray, and they fast like we fast. But what do? يَتَصَدَّقُونَ بِفُضُولِ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. What does that mean? No, I mean they give charity with the fudul. Fudul, it means superfluous.
What does that mean?
Like superfluous, extra, not needed. Like the money that, like once they've covered all the needs of their families, this is the extra money that they have, and they give that in charity. They don't keep it. So that's why he's saying that they get all the rewards. Like they're doing the same actions that we're doing, but then they get to do this. And we don't get to do this because, the people that are speaking here are poor, right? So that's what he's talking about. He said, وَيَتَصَدَّقُونَ بِفُضُولِ أَمْوَالِهِمْ قَالَ أَلَيْسَ, and this is the statement of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, أَلَيْسَ قَدْ جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ مَا تَصَدَّقُونَ. He said, is not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not giving you the means to give charity? All right, because what are they thinking? They're thinking that charity is only what? It's with money, right? Yeah, it's with wealth. But now the Prophet ﷺ is going to tell them, no, it's not, hasn't he giving you the means to give charity? It's not just money, right? He said, إِنَّ بِكُلِّ تَصْبِيحَةٍ بِكُلِّ تَصْبِيحَةٍ وَتَحْمِيدَةٍ صَدَقَةٍ. Tasbihah what? Subhanallah. Just the statement of saying Subhanallah. So you get sadaqah for every time that you say this, right? وَتَحْمِيدَ. Alhamdulillah, alright? To say Alhamdulillah. وَبُضُعُ أَحَدِكُمْ صَدَقَةً. Budu'u, what? Al-budu' in the Arabic language, it means zawaj or nikah, and it also can mean the mahr that you pay. But here it means specifically what? Going and enjoying yourself with your wife. Alright? Doing the thing that married folks do. Alright, he said, وَبُضُعُ أَحَدِكُمْ صَدَقَةً. So this is a charity. So they said, قِيلَ فِي شَحْوَتِهِ صَدَقَةً. So a person goes and fulfills what's in his desires and he gets charity for this. And so they're amazed, right? I'm pretty sure people ready to go home, right? All the married brothers are like, let's go. Let's leave. Let's go get some sadaqah, man.
None of us are married.
I know, I'm talking about here in this city, you know. Alright, قال لو وضع في الحرام أليس كان عليه وزر. So then the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if he were to place it in something that was haram, like if he were to fulfill his desires in a means that was haram, he said, would there not be a sin upon him? And of course, you know, the answer is what? Huh? The answer is what? No, the answer is what? Bala. Read the question again. He said, قال, no, actually no. He said, no, here. لو وضع في الحرام أليس كان عليه وزر. الجواب, what? بلى. Because if you say نعم, what are you saying?
Yes.
نعم ليس عليه وزر. Alright, no, نعم, نعم. أليس كان عليه وزر. نعم. What? So it's a negative question. So how do you answer the negative question? With bela. You don't say na'am, because na'am you're affirming the negation. Alright. Alright, so he said for kadalik, and so he said if he were to place it, if he were to fulfill his desires with something haram, would he not have an itham, a sin? فكذلك إن وضعها في الحلال كان له أجر. So he said, and just like that, if he were to fulfill his desires with something that's halal, then he gets reward for that. Because he placed it in a halal means. Any questions about these hadiths?
What was
Beautiful.
the word for someone who was alive during the time of Prophet?
Muqadara. You gotta write that down, man.
No, I'm gonna text it.
You're gonna have to write it down for him. Alright. I mean, the main thing, shahid, is that the ma'ruf is wasi. You know, so the means of giving charity is not just like limited to just the person's wealth. If the person has wealth and he has extra money to give sadaqah, then let him do it. If he doesn't, maybe he's poor, maybe he's trying to save up his money to get married like everybody should be trying to do right now. Alright, then what? And let him do other things and help other people. And the means of getting sadaqah are plentiful. You know, so there's no excuse for a Muslim every single day to go throughout his whole entire day. He hasn't given any form of sadaqah. Because I mean, that's what the majority of the people, what they do. You know, and it's not just sadaqah, the sadaqah is on for what? In every joint of the body. Every joint of the body, right? What's the hadith? Huh? You need to review it, but then you said, I didn't memorize it, but I need to review it.
I'm very tight.
It's in 40 hadith.
I know, I'm just very tight right now.
He said, أني على كل صلامة أني صدقة كل يوم تطلع فيه الشمس. So every day that the sun comes up, every single mafsal, every single joint of the body, you have to give charity for every single joint, every single part. So how do you do that? If you're just going to go to work, come home, you know, watch Netflix and go to sleep, where are you giving the charity? You understand? So, you know, the only way that you can give that is through the ibadah, and through helping people, through assisting people, through doing acts of khair throughout the day, where it involves every single part of your body. Because every single part, imagine that's every single day that you wake up and you have every single joint of your body you have to give sadaqah for. Every day. This is an obligation every single day. So you have to keep that in mind and trying to fulfill that on a daily basis, you know. So you can't just sit around and waste your time. You know, you gotta prioritize. Priorities comes with what? Getting what you need to get done first. Protect yourself. And then you start working on the people around you. All right, what questions? What time's the adhan, by the way?
Very soon.
7:36.
Masjid Badr, they prayed at 7:45.
Good for them.
Striving slave, if there is limited meat in a dish, does the woman or cook have to make sure that everyone in the house gets an even amount?
mean, the woman's just cooking. What does she have to do with how? What does she like? Putting the stuff on the plates or what?
On the wall.
Normally, I don't know. I guess so. That's the way you're going to be doing it, like loading up everybody. Like, okay, Tommy, here's your plate, and Billy, here's your plate, and Susie, here's your plate. If you're doing that, then yeah. I mean, you have to make sure you have to be fair. You can't give one something and leave others with nothing. You know, can't like I gotta be doing that type of tough deal. You know, oh, he's the good kid, so I'm gonna give him the meat. Tommy, you're the bad kid, so you get nothing. You know, nah. You do that, and then what happens to Tommy? It becomes worse, right? It becomes a bigger criminal. Yeah, so it's all you got to be fair with your family.
Hamid said, what is the aura of a woman in front of other women?
Her body is an aura for the other women. They can't see her whole entire body. She can uncover her face, her hair, and her hands, but she can't expose her body to the other women. And why would she want to? You don't know what type of sickness goes on.
Then one says, is it haram to shave your chest hair?
For who? A woman or a man?
No, haram. Why would you want to marry a woman that's chest hair?
I'm just saying, like, if that would be more. No, you can't shave your chest hair. Why would you do that?
Women can.
Huh?
Women can.
No, I mean, I don't know about women. I'm assuming that this question's about a man. But why would. What are you, like, participating in the Mr. Olympia competition? Like, what do you want to shave your chest hair for? I don't know, that's weird, I don't know.
Hamid said, I might enter for any competition for money.
And then you have to shave your chest hairs for that?
He said, I might enter a Quranic competition for money to buy books.
إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى. So, you know, but you're reading the Quran for money, akhi. I would stay away from that. Make dua, man, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you money with other means. Because you go up and you recite the Quran, you're taking the book of Allah, akhi, just to get money. I mean, I understand, like, the outcome is good, like what you're trying to get to, but the means and the way that you're going through it is not good. And we're Muslims, akhi, we don't believe in that whole, what is it, the ends justifies the means. No. The means has to be halal for the outcome to be what? Halal and maqbool. So you're using the Quran as a means of just to get money, to buy books. Yes, so the outcome is good, but the means of getting to it is wrong. So find another way. It's better if you just, whatever. Go sell oils or something like that. Go do, there's other things that you can do to make money.
Abdurrahman said, how do we navigate to the hands where dictionary as a beginner? A word is given multiple meanings, which is the correct one?
I mean, that's over time. Because each word you're going to understand the correct meaning through the context when you start understanding the context. So you're just looking for the meaning that you understand in this thing right now, in the sentence that you're reading right now, or whatever you're reading now. So it comes with time. You just got to keep working at it.
Mustafa said, what is the ruling on studying evolution as part of biology course?
Haram. Okay, you tell them to go. Yeah, Jama'ah, we got a class going on here, please. Can y'all keep it down? No, over here. Jazakumullahu khairan.
Someone translate.
Huh?
So, what did you say the ruling was?
What was the question again?
What is the ruling on studying evolution as part of biology course?
Start studying what?
Evolution.
Striving Slave says, are the scholars the ones that calculate when people are strong enough to fight for Islam?
Are the scholars the one that calculate? No. The person's reached below But the thing is that the people need to get knowledge of their deen first. They can go dying like a bunch of ignoramuses. And then they need knowledge of the deen too to know what they're getting themselves involved in. You know, you go to certain areas and you need to know who's there and what's going on. You know, what you're getting involved in. So you can't ward off the shubahat. You go, you fight with the Taliban, and the Taliban are a bunch of grave worshippers. How are you going to sit there and fight off their shubahat? You know? So you see that. You go to other places, it's the same issue. They hate the sunnah, and they hate Ahl Sunnah. So what are you going to do? You go there and give tawheed, or are they going to give you da'wah? They're going to give you da'wah. So focus on knowledge. When the time comes, akhi. You know, let the stajah. Like the Prophet ﷺ said, أن لا يتمنى أحدكم أن لقاء العدو وإذا رأيتموهم وإذا لقيتموهم فاثبتوا. He said, لا يتمنى, like none of you should ever wish to meet the enemy. Like لا يتمنى أحدكم لقاء العدو, that you should never hope and dream and wish to meet the enemy on the battlefield. ولكن, but if you إذا لقيتموهم, if you meet them on the battlefield, فاثبتوا, stay firm. You know, if it does happen, stay firm. But otherwise, it's not something that you should, you know, focus on learning your deen first. You know, because if you can't even be patient to sit down and study your deen, what good are you in a battle? What good are you in the military? I mean, even these soldiers that study, you know, that join the military, you know, when they go and they stay in the military for long, they study their history. They study the history of the military. They study all these orders and they memorize all this stuff. And you don't even have the patience to sit down and understand the most basic information of your deen. Al-Usul al-Thalatha is too difficult for you to understand. What are you going to do with the enemy? What are you going to do? You know, go back and read, Surah Al-Baqarah, the qissa of Talut and what he did with the Junud. What did he say? Inna Allah mubtalikum binahar. فمن شرب منه فليس مني ومن لم يشربه ومن لم يطعمه فإنه مني إلا من اغترف غرفة بيدي فشربوا منه إلا قليلا منه. But this was a test, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested them with a nahr. They're marching. They're going to go out to fight Jalut and his army, which the kuffar translated as Goliath. Alright, so they're going to fight Jalut and his army. So they're marching and marching and marching. Now you're marching. This is, what area are they in? They're like in this area, like Sham, right? It's hot, akhi. It's hot. You think they're not thirsty? You think they're not like probably dying of thirst? Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested them with that. They said, what? Now you're going to pass by a nahr. And Allah mubtalikum bin nahr. فَمَنْ شَرِبَ مِنْهُ فَلَيْسَ مِنِّي. And whoever drinks from this, then what? He's not from me. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَطْعَمْهُ فَإِنَّهُ مِنِّي. And whoever does not taste it from this nahr, then he's from me. إِلَّا مَنْ اغْتَرَفَ غُرَفَةً بِيَدِي. Except for the person who what? Takes a little small scoop and that's it. And that's it. Khalas. Takes a scoop from his hand. And you know what's going to happen when you take that scoop? What are you going to want more of? You're super thirsty, akhi. You feel that coldness of that water go down and you're like, and then you got to stop. And because why? Because what was the whole purpose of this test? To see if they're going to obey Allah. If they're going to obey Allah and the person that Allah put in charge over them. All right, so because they asked, they wanted a person that's going to lead them in the battle, so Allah gave them Talut. So they want to see, now are you going to be obedient? Are you going to obey His commands? Because His commands are coming from Allah. And He's telling you, and this is a test from Allah. فَشَرِبُوا مِنْهُ إِلَّا what? شَرِبُوا مِنْهُ إِلَّا إيش? إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِنْهُ. Everybody, most of the army drank from the water, except for what? Just a little bit. And what did He do to the people that drank? Get out of here. We don't need you. Why? Because they're disobedient. And the disobedient people are going to cause the destruction of the army. So He said, I would rather, what? We're going to fight with these small number of people that are obedient. Is better than fighting with this bigger army with most of the people not even obedient. He kicked them out. They kicked them out. And then everybody started to get scared. Why did they get scared? But why did they say La taqata lana? Why?
Because the numbers.
Because they're qalil. They're like smaller numbers now. And Jalut has this huge army. They were already huge. before the numbers got kicked out, before the guys got kicked out, they were already huge. Now they're like smaller now in number, and this is still like this huge army, right? So then what happens?
قال الذين يظنون أنهم ملاقو الله كم من فئة
كم من فئة
قليلة
قليلة غلبت
فئة
كثيرة بإذن الله والله
والله مع الصابرين.
مع صابرين. All right, so that's it. And then Dawood ended up killing Jalut, and then they won. They won with those like few patient people, the people of sabr, the people of obedience. And that's what you need. That's what you need to go back to and ponder. So we don't need a bunch of crackheads in there running around talking about jihad. Those are going to be the people that get us all killed. No, we need the people of obedience, the people who have the patience to sit down, the people that are fasting in the hot days and praying during the night, and the people that are in the masjid, and the people that are doing what they're supposed to do. Those are the people of patience. Those are the people that Allah gives victory to. All these crackheads, wallahi, they haven't gotten victory in any war that they've participated in. Syria, what? Nothing. They got destroyed. Syria is still in the hands of the same people that, in fact, the situation in Syria is worse than before. You know, when all these crackheads started getting involved in Yemen and started fighting for money, now the Houthis are stronger than they have ever been. The students of Damascus were killing the Houthis, were destroying the Houthis. But then when all these groups, they say, oh, well, these people in Damascus, they can do it, then we can definitely do it. Look what happened. Look at the situation now. And look at it. Now the Houthis are shooting missiles at Israel now. You know, of course it's a Broadway play, but you know what I'm saying. But like, look at the situation now. Now they have more weapons than they ever had before. Those are these crackheads getting involved. Huh? Yeah. Well, they're getting even bigger than that now. So, Allah understand. Next question. I don't even remember what the original question was.
Amir al-Muslimin, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, says, is it permissible for one to say the tasmiyah before reciting from the beginning of the surah?
What do you mean is it permissible? And the salat or what? You gotta be clear about the question. The question is not clear. Are you talking about the salat or are you just talking about reading it normally?
Same question. It says, if one is planning on breaking an oath to do what is better, is it permissible for them to pay expiation before the break of the oath?
As soon as you made the intention to break the oath is broken. That's like what you have to, like, if you make an oath, you say like, you know, wallahi, give me an example. There will be something where you make an oath and then you find something better.
I will never speak to this. No, I will never forgive for them.
Huh?
I will never hire him.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, you say like, wallahi, I'll never hire him because you don't like him personally. But then then you find out that, you know, like he's in need, or you find out something else that you say, no, you know, so you take it back, so you find out what's better is to do what? To hire him so you can help him out, so you get the reward for it, you know. So in that case, yeah, you have to, what's the expiation? For breaking an oath, what is it? No, that's the last choice. You either feed 10 poor people or clothe them. If you don't have the means to feed the 10 people or clothe them, then you fast for 3 days. But you cannot fast for 3 days and you have the means to feed or clothe 10 poor people. You have the means to feed them, and you don't have to feed them all at once. Or you can feed them all at once, or you can feed them like 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, however you want to do it.
Do they have to be Muslim? Do they have to be a Muslim?
That's what they say is the better thing, that they're Muslim, but I don't know. I didn't read anything that showed that we went over this issue before, right?
When he first came.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, before you die.
We took this. No, we're going to the Muslim or not. We took this in the Ramadan book. We took the.
I went back and reviewed the issue, but I can't remember, like, because it was so long ago. But what I understand is that, you know, for example, obviously it's better. Anything that's related to the deen is that it goes to the Muslims, not to the kuffar. Because this is it's an expiation of an oath in the deen. So So if it's based on the deen, then you should feed the poor Muslims. And if you have poor Muslims anyways, why would you feed the kuffar? You feed the Muslims first. If you don't have any Muslim, no poor Muslims, nothing but kuffar, then that's one thing, right? So you just say that you live in an area where just all the Muslims are rich. They all have money. It's the kuffar that are poor. So then you have a poor neighbor. That's a different issue. But if you have poor Muslims, why would you feed a kafir? Feed a Muslim, clothe a Muslim. That's your priority anyways. That's all of our priority is to take care of our brothers and sisters first. Kuffar is secondary. And the kuffar, they have no rights over us anyways except for what? Neighbors and family. No, we don't oppress them, but I'm just saying, we don't prioritize them. We're going to take care of our brothers and sisters first. And then whatever's left over, okay, we take care of, like our neighbors, the kuffar. You have family that's kuffar, you take care of them. You look out for them. They're your family, they're your neighbors, they got rights over you. But other than that, khalas. I mean, we don't sit there and go out looking for like poor kuffar to give something out. You got plenty of poor Muslims that you can help out. Help them out first. You know, take care of your house first. Then you take care of the people outside.
Well, going back to the question, it says, is it permissible to tasmiyah instead of basmala in salah and outside of it? When one
Well, it's not a tasmiyah anyways. It's a basmala. Tasmiyah means to give somebody a name. What is?
They said the tasmiyah instead of the basmala.
What is a tasmiyah?
Like Surah Maryam, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Kaha ya Ain Sad.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim is the basmala. Tasmiyah, it means that you give something a name, some meaning.
It says tasmiyah instead of the basmala, so the questioner is stipulating there's a difference between the two.
Let me know what the difference is, please. Because tasmiyah is that you give something a name. Sammihi, the tasmiyah. Basmala that you say, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. What was the issue? In the salat or outside the salat? You say it in the salat, but you say it to yourself. You don't say it out loud.
Yeah, actually, let me skip the question. The same question says, who are the Batiniyya? Are they Muslim?
We keep going over this over and over. Batiniyya kuffar. We talked about this at least 3 times in different classes. Al-Batiniyya alladhina yubtinuna al-kufr wa yuthiruna al-Islam. So they hide kufr in their hearts, but they're munafiqun, basically. But munafiqun and nifaqan i'tiqadiyan. What's up? No. Go call the adhan. Class, man. My son stays in the class, I told you.
Hassam said, how should I react when a Muslim harasses me? I remember in Saudi, and some kids were messing with me in the street, scaring me.
Kids were scaring you in the street?
In Saudi.
They're gonna mess with you if they see that you're a foreigner. They're just interested. They're like, what are you? That's all. They're not trying to rob you or nothing. They're just being curious. That's why you go overseas, people get curious. If you don't want that to happen, stop acting like a foreigner. Go over there and start walking like a normal person and talking like a normal person. But when you're like pimp walking and you can see an American walking from like 3 miles away. I used to see it. You look down, I can see a white thobe, and the way the person's walking, like, here comes an American. And the way they're walking, the way they're talking, the way the hands moving, everything. You don't want that attention, then stop acting like that. Start acting like the people, like normal people. But we're weird, man. Like when we go overseas, like everybody knows who we are. And all you got to do is just sit back and stay quiet and listen for the loudest voices. You hear all the loud voices, be like, there's the Americans, go find them. Yeah, man. Loud wherever we go.
Anonymous says, Ustad, ruling on learning Quran from someone who ascribes to a Qabuli sect.
A what?
Qabuli.
Stay away from them.
Although he isn't open about this with you.
Doesn't matter, stay away from them. Because you're learning from a person that builds love in your chest for that person. And he may not be open with it right now, but he starts to slide that stuff in later on once he starts to earn your trust. Stay away from those people.
Sam says, how do I get rid of bid'ah dua books I have at home? Just burn it.
How to get rid of what?
The bid'ah books of dua. Just burn it.
What bid'ah books of dua? First off, make sure that they are bid'ah books first off, and then you just burn them.
Striving Slave says, in Mauritania and other African countries, people memorize Quran a lot. Do they focus on studying correct aqidah too?
No. Mauritania, they're mostly Ash'ari. And the vast majority of people. And even that, they don't even really take it serious.
They're Ash'ari.
They're Ash'aris, but they don't take it serious. It's not like something like they sit down and they really, really study. No, they mostly study like usul al-fiqh. They focus on the language and they focus on fiqh al-maliki. They don't even focus on their own aqidah. So, but that's what they are. You know, they get their aqidah from a lot of the different matun that they study in fiqh. Because the Malikis, if you go back and you read their original books from the Malikiyah, is that they always start their books off with like a muqaddimah and aqidah. So that's normally where they get it from.
Abu Nusayb al-Aldani says, a sister wanted me to forward a number of questions. If you could answer them to the best of your ability, gladly appreciate it.
What are the questions?
Oh.
you just
There's a bunch
said
of questions in between. There's a bunch of.
You're looking at me like, where's the answer? Where's the question, Akhi?
You said the same thing twice. Well, it says there is a sister.
No, we didn't say the same thing twice. What happens is he probably typed in the comment didn't show up, so he's like, oh, it probably got deleted by YouTube. Then he typed it in again, and then it showed up twice. But yeah, go ahead.
There's a sister. She used to be my friend. Her name's Abu Nusayba.
I leave the people alone and read the question. He's probably talking about before Islam. Calm down. Have personal fun with the people. Come on.
She used to be my friend, but I cut ties with her because she and her husband created problems in her family's personal lives in the name of the religion. She and the husband used the Quran verses and Hadith and explained them in a way without scholars' interpretations to justify their various opinions and actions. Can you please send me the fatwa that prohibits this?
This is a girl's question, Akhi.
I don't know.
You're not talking about the brother. This is a girl saying that she has a friend. What are you talking about?
What?
It's not him. It's
I
not.
know.
Man, read the question again, man. You messed me up, Akhi.
There is a sister. She used to be my friend, but I cut ties with her because she and her husband created problems in her family's personal lives in the name of the religion. She and the husband used the Quran verses and Hadith and explained them in a way without scholars' interpretation to justify their various opinions and actions. Can you please send me fatwa that prohibits this? I'm quoting this. Is not
You need fatwa to like show the impermissibility of interpreting the Quran with your own mind and your own interpretation. No, you don't need. I mean, that's the asl of this deen is that it goes back to what? The ilm of the salaf. Who's going to understand the Quran? Who understood it? Us? 1400 years after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the people that sat with him and took the Quran and studied the Quran and watched him practice the Quran every single day, even to the point where Aisha radiallahu anha, when she was asked about the khuluq, she said, "Ma kana khuluq Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam." When they asked her this, what did she say? Kana khuluquhu al-Quran. Like his whole character was the Quran. He acted it out. So who's going to understand it better, them or us? How are you going to come up here and talk about 1446, and you're going to sit here and say, I'm going to go and just give it like my own stupid interpretation based on what I studied in public school and learned from these kuffar, and I heard in music and I watched on Netflix, and now I'm going to interpret the Quran in this way. I mean, you need a fatwa, you need a fatwa to tell you that the sun rose this morning. To know that the sun rose, I mean, come on, it's very clear. We don't interpret, and we don't, anything from the Quran. This is the speech of Allah. And we go back to the Sahaba, we go back first off to the Sunnah, to the Sunnah of the Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then we go back to the understanding of the Sahaba. That's what these books of tafsir are for. The books of tafsir are there so we can get the understanding to protect us against idiots like that want to go around and just give their own interpretation. That's the protection. That's why knowledge is so important, because it's a hisn. What is a hisn in the Arabic language? What is it? It's a fortress, but it's like it's an impenetrable fortress. The more knowledge you have, the less ability people have to come in and just take over your fortress, right? Your fortress is your heart. And you have to put like a whole, like walls and bricks and all this stuff and, around your heart to protect it. And that's with knowledge. That's just batil. Anybody running around giving their interpretation, tell them, tell them the punishment that they're going to have on the Day of Judgment for that. So Allah understand, they speak without knowledge. It's from the Akbar al-Kabair. Min Akbar al-Kabair, not the Akbar al-Kabair. Because the Akbar al-Kabair is what? Shirk billah.
What is shirk? Because they're explaining the book of Allah because they're talking about Allah without ilm, and that's shirk. Allah mentioned it to be shirk in Surah Al-A'raf.
If they take their own opinions, yeah. Mm. Go ahead, what's the next one?
Questioner named Burrell says, they say that tasmiyah means to only say it until Bismillah and not the Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. So I'm assuming when the question was talking about the tasmiyah and the basmalah.
Basmalah, they say Bismillah.
Tasmiyah means like to call it Surah Maryam, Surah Al-A'raf.
Yeah. Because the whole verb itself, basmala, you basmilu, is made out of what? Bismillah. It's not made out of Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim.
Muslimin alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen says, is it permissible to name a child Riqqatul Rahman?
I don't know. I've never even heard that before.
Striving Slave says, in Mauritania, if people in Mauritania learn wrong aqidah due to environment, will they be excused? That's
between them and Allah. We can only judge the people on the surface, on the bahar. That's it. With their excuse and everything, that's with Allah. It's not with the people. So Allah knows their situation. You see, but it's now it's kind of hard, right? Because you had, for example, you have Muhammad Salam. And Muhammad Salam, see, the thing is that even though Muhammad Salam, Allah yarhamu, was not Ash'ari, but at the same time, he didn't go and refute them. Because their culture, the way that their culture is set up is completely different, right? Where it's like they kind of like everybody goes off and does their own thing, and nobody talks about anybody. That's their culture, So you won't see like the ulama refuting other ulama or refuting the Ash'ariyah, even though they know it's wrong. And then you start to see these watered down mumayyi'een, like Dedu. You know Dedu, right? Dedu is the sheikh of Muhammad Hijab and Ali Dawah. What's the quality of the sheikh of a person when you look at the people who quote him the most, right? Huh?
Students.
What? His students. Look at his students. So yeah, but he's the one that he's going around Mauritania talking about it's permissible to have madhabs and aqidah. It's okay, it's just a difference of opinion, just like fiqh. We wouldn't disassociate ourselves with him because he's Hanbali and I'm Shafi'i. So the same thing with aqidah. Okay, he follows the madhab al-Hanbali and aqidah, and so this is what they do. This is the type of mentality, and this is batil. It's batil. There's no such thing as a madhab and aqidah. There's one aqidah. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he in his time, all right, in his time, Did they have like ikhtilaf in fiqh?
Yes.
Alright?
Sahaba,
And give an example.
when Prophet ﷺ, or the, like, when Sahaba were going on the trip, the Prophet ﷺ,
The trip.
like, to go to, like, was it a certain masjid, and for Salat al-Asr, he commanded them.
He said, لا يصلين أحدكم إلا في إيش؟ في بني قريظة. It's the most popular example. So he said, nobody from amongst you should pray Asr except for where? Bani Qurayza. So what happened is they were late leaving, and then the time for Asr came in, and they weren't there. So one group amongst them said no. The Prophet ﷺ said what? He commanded us that we should pray Asr there. Right? And we're going to do exactly what the Prophet ﷺ said. The other group, they said what? Well, the Prophet ﷺ meant for us to leave out early, so we get there by Asr. But now it's Asr, the time for Salat is in. So that group prayed, and the other group what? Yeah, they said, no, we're going to pray, and where the Prophet told us to pray. Alright, so now, that ikhtilaf happened. Did the Prophet ﷺ jump down the throats of any one of them? No. So, and you know, as far as these types of masail al-fiqh, من اجتهد فله ايش؟ فله أجران ومن اجتهد فأصاب ومن اجتهد فأخطأ فله أجر. For these masail. But now, what about these masail in aqidah? Alright, no, there was no ikhtilaf. Show me where there was ikhtilaf in this issue.
Did any of the Salaf, like, ever have ikhtilaf with the Prophet ﷺ seen Allah?
Hey, Imam Ahmed said that he saw Allah.
Like in a dream?
No, I mean, not that Imam Ahmed said that he saw, but he said that the Prophet ﷺ saw him. No. He said that he saw him yaqadah. Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj. He saw him in a dream. He didn't see him, you know, because the Prophet ﷺ said about that, he said, and they asked him, and he said, if he saw Allah, he said, Nurun ra'aytuhu. Nurun ra'aytuhu. So he said, I saw nur. And the hijab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what? It's nur. So khalas, he didn't see Allah, he saw the hijab. Alright, but then in the dream, yes, he saw him. But not in the yaqadah. But Imam Ahmed took the opinion that he saw him awake. Well, that's based on the adillah that he has. So.
That nobody says, what to do if a Muslim employer is mostly headlong into dunya, no guidance?
He's a businessman. What do you expect him to be? Aren't most businessmen like that?
Of course.
Yeah, so I mean that's expected. If you see a businessman was concerned about the deen, that's like amazing, right? He was like, wow, mashallah, this dude is like all dunyawi. He's got this business, he's got all this money, but he's concerned about the deen. That's weird. Strange, ghareeb. So most people that are involved in business, they're not concerned about it. The deen is like when I get to it, you know. The dunya is the most important thing for them. You don't have to say nothing. Just don't.
No, it's because there's a lot, and I don't. The people that keep typing and typing, so I keep getting cut off, and now it's just so confusing because when I read it, it doesn't make sense. That's why. But then he said, I've been quoting the sister, in Fatawa, that forging vaccination papers is not permissible. They disagreed in suggesting forging is okay. The religious interpretation that they gave to justify their opinion was that in Islam we can take the lesser harm over the greater harm. Then when I confronted them asking where's the evidence for them to interpret the religion in that manner, which they did, they admitted that they do not have evidence, but then said that they have friends who forged documents in Medina, so they used that to justify themselves and explain it. It's permissible, and spoke on behalf of the religion. They also stated that scholars lack worldly knowledge about vaccines.
Ain't true. Wallahi, Sheikh Yahya spoke about that issue. As they asked him about the same thing. During the COVID lockdowns, they went to the Sheikh and they said, should we take the vaccines? The Sheikh said no. No. So these things that come from the kuffar, we don't know what they put in it, don't take it. And he told the people not to take it. Even though he was forced to take it when he had to go into Saudi to get medical treatment. They made him take it on the border between Yemen and Saudi. They made him take 2 shots at once, forcefully, and he was refusing to take it. But then he was also asked about the whole issue about forging these papers. He said, no, it's not permissible because it's a lie. Muslims were not liars. Just like you see in the Hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, where he said, what's the Hadith now? Just give me the beginning of it. And then he said, إن الصدق يهدي إلى البر وأن البر يهدي إلى الجنة وأن الرجل لا يصدق حتى يكتب عند الله صديقا وأن الكذب يهدي إلى الفجور وأن الفجور يهدي إلى النار وأن الرجل لا يكذب حتى يكتب عند الله كذاب. That whole thing, that whole fajur, it starts with a kadhib. Starts with making things like this, and that's a lie. It's not permissible. You're cheating. And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man ghashana falaysa minna." Whoever deceives us is not from us. And you're deceiving the Muslim government. I was forced with the same issue when I was in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, that's why I'm in America. Guess who's gonna, that's the choice that I made. I refused to take that garbage. And I refused it. And they said, you have 2 choices. You take it or you leave. I left. They're gonna bear that sin on the Day of Judgment. On the Day of Judgment, I got kicked out of a Muslim country because I refused to take that garbage. I'm taking my rights on the Day of Judgment. That's that. Khalas. They're gonna answer for that. But I'm not gonna sit there and lie and cheat and deceive a Muslim government. That's their rules. We accept it or we leave. It's not your country. It's their country. If they make those laws and you don't want to stay there with those laws, what do? You leave. Khalas. So I left. I went back to Florida. Alhamdulillah. Nobody cared about nothing in Florida. Got back to Florida. Nobody was wearing masks. Nobody cared about nothing. In fact, if you went into Walmart with a mask on, the people looked at you like you were strange. They're like, what is this buffoon wearing a mask for? Yeah, man, subhanAllah. Beautiful. But, yeah. But lying for that purpose is that's not. Just don't take it. Don't take it. They tell you gotta leave, leave. I would rather leave than sit there and lie and deceive people. We had to leave everything, akhi. So what? So be it.
Um, 43 Heart and 10 says, someone gifted me a teacup set with gold on it, which at the time I thought it was fake. Turns out they're worth a lot. What should I do with them? Can they be sold as they are?
Sell them. You can't drink from them.
Muslimin alhamdulillah rabbil alameen says, should one be proud of their culture, like how we are with our deen, or is it something that we are not proud of but not ashamed of?
Your culture is your culture. You're not any better. You're not better than anybody else would, just because of what?
We were Jambis.
No, I'm saying, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because what? I mean, you eat biryani, so you're better than everybody else, or you eat tortas. No, it's your culture, akhi. It's the whole purpose of people's culture and the beauty of it is that, ta'aruf, is that we all get to know one another. And that, but how are we going to get to know each other if everybody's sitting there like thinking that he's superior over us? No, man, we're all come from Adam, alayhi salam. And Adam came from what? And then next, they came from dirt. And that's exactly where we're all going back to. It doesn't matter what your culture is, we're all going to end up back in the same place, getting asked the same questions, and having to deal with the same issues about our actions. Either our good actions or our bad actions. So who cares? I mean, your culture is your culture. It's just something neutral. It's just something that's a part of you. As long as there's no conflict with the deen. If there's a conflict with the deen, like eating, menudo on Sundays? Can't do that no more, can you? Huh? But see, even if it was halal, you couldn't do it because why? Is there a specific Christian thing attached to it or what?
No.
Why did they specify every on like Saturdays and Sundays just to eat it?
Because that's when people wake up with hangovers. So that's the main.
Okay, that's the main
that's
excuse.
The culture, yeah.
Okay.
That's the excuse.
All right, because to get rid of the hangover.
For the hangover.
All right. Oh, I mean, in that case, colossal. It's not, but it's got pork in it. As long as there's no conflict between the culture and the deen, then there's no issue. But if there's a conflict, then you do away with the culture. You don't do away with the deen because of your culture. But I mean, as far as your culture, no, it's not anything to be proud of, and it's not anything to be ashamed of. You know, so you should never like let a person shame you because you're from a certain culture. You should never let a person. You should never be proud just because you're certain, from a certain culture. You know, just be a normal person.
Umar says, what about vaccinations for rabies? Like, would a person seriously not take that when the disease has a high mortality rate, especially if they get bit?
Look, ain't nobody talking about all vaccinations. People are talking about taking a certain vaccination that nobody knew the ingredients of. And then the Indonesians, when they went and they did tests on it, and I'm just saying what was in the news. So this YouTube is probably gonna get flagged for like misinformation or whatever. I get fact checked or whatever. But this is what I was reading in the Saudi news over when I was in Saudi Arabia. Is that they went and they took the vaccination and they did a study on it and they found that it included like cells of aborted fetuses and DNA of pigs and things like this. So they made it. So this became a big issue, and then the vaccination companies were trying to defend it. No, it's not what you think. It's not what it is now, but that's what it started as because the process, the chemical process, it changes the composition of those things. So if we don't know what's in these things, and they come from the kuffar, so it's like what? We don't take it. Because they're liars. They're kadabun. We know this. We know this this is their asl. That's why they're kuffar. Because they bury the truth. They cover up the truth with falsehood. So we don't take anything that comes from them, period. And then you see what the Muslims did. The Muslims started praying 6 feet apart, taking vaccinations, putting on masks, and doing all this because the kuffar told them to do this. The Prophet ﷺ tells you what to do in the Sunnah. Allah commands you to do something in the Quran. You don't even care about it. But mashallah, you're ready to carry out every Sunnah from these kuffar. Praying with these gaps, praying you could drive a Mitsubishi between the people in the rows, and you think that the salat is valid. Wallahi, every one of the people that pray like that, the salat is invalid. Except for the imam, because the imam's the only one, obviously, because that's considered what? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, la yaqbalu salat munfarad wara'a saf. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't accept the salat of a munfarad. What is a munfarad? He's a person who prays behind the rows by himself. He doesn't pray connected to the saf. Allah does not accept that salah. It's invalid. So, all these types of things. You see the Muslims, wallahi, when these things come up, they're so quick to go through to do everything, to the letter, right? To the letter, do everything. Put the mask over your nose, akhi. Do all this, obey these kuffar. But the sunnah, you don't want to obey it. You don't want to listen to it. So now you're going to take this poison. Wallahi, it's a good punishment for the people. They want to obey the kuffar, and they put that poison in their bodies. Now look at all these people dropping dead left and right. Athletes dropping dead, and all these people dropping dead. Wallahi, it serves the people right, obeying these kuffar. Allahumma musta'an, akhi.
On that hadith, let's say like the row of school, for example, would your prayer still be invalid like if you went to the row behind?
Pull somebody back. You can't pray by yourself. You either wait for somebody to, like maybe if you heard somebody come in, you wait till he comes in and you pray with him, or you pull somebody to come back with you. But you can't just pray by yourself. No. You have to, the salah is invalid. You have to pray in the saf. Except for the women. The women is permissible. All right, the women, so if the women say, oh no, what about us? No, the women, they can do that.
Striving
You
slave.
think we're going to get strikes on this video? 2 years ago, probably. 3 years ago, probably. But now all this information is coming out now, so it's not going to happen. It probably won't happen, but yeah, like 3 years ago, this video would be taken down right now.
Dead live.
Huh?
Dead live.
Yeah.
Live shut live.
Shoot! What's up?
I remember all my family went to war with me. Everyone, my dad, my mom. My dad yelled at me a lot because I refused to take the vaccine. And he just went off. He said, no, you need to go to Yemen. Well, I went to Yemen without no vaccine.
Actually, we traveled all over the what? We left from Yemen to Kuwait to what? To Germany, to America, from the New Jersey to Jacksonville, none of us, nobody took no vaccine out here.
I'm the only
That's
one.
well, like people believe anything, man. They just believe anything.
I'm the only
Yemen
one.
is the only country that didn't have the vaccines. They didn't have them because they had a a blockade on the country, so the vaccines never even got into Yemen. So you see all the people gonna start dying, the Yemenis gonna be like, ha! You know, the Yemenis used to joke with me, right? The Yemenis used to say, teacher, one day we're gonna control the world. Did I tell you this joke before? I told you, right? He said, teacher, one day we're gonna control the world. I said, how are the Yemenis gonna control the world? He said, because everybody's gonna go live on the moon and we're gonna be the only ones still on the earth. So we're gonna control the world. I said, tell you, but now I tell the Yemenis, wallahi, you guys are gonna control the world because everybody's gonna die from that poison and y'all gonna be the only ones left along this time. Y'all and the people in Syria. Yeah, the Syrians also didn't because they were too busy in war. Like all those countries that were in war, they didn't.
Yeah, there's like very heavy sanctions.
I was the only one in my family who didn't take it.
Oh, you didn't take it?
No, I was the only one who didn't take it.
That's crazy, man.
And I cut off class because now I'm getting phone calls and stuff. Because Striving Slave says recommendation on how to balance business and deen/knowledge.
But I will make one comment though. Going back to this whole issue about taking that garbage. If a woman has taken that, then she needs to let the man know. She needs to let the man know. She can't hide that information because that affects her ability to have children, and it affects the children, coming out normal. Because these kids now that, the ones that took this stuff, these kids are coming out with all types of ailments and miscarriages and deaths and all this type of stuff. So if a woman has taken that, she cannot hide that information from her husband. And if the man is taking it, he cannot hide that information from her. Because, for me personally, if a girl came up to me and said, I took the vaccine, I will not marry her. I will not marry her. I will not marry her. That's over. It's done. You're not giving me AIDS, actually. You can forget all that stuff. Y'all watch, because that's what happened. Like, you go look that up. Like 70-something people tested positive for HIV when they started doing that in Britain. So that's no joke, actually. You think these kuffar are sitting there, you think they want good for y'all? These kuffar want everybody destroyed, actually. They want to control everybody. What's the best way to control everybody? Impoverish them and sicken them. If you're weak, you're sick, and you're poor, you can't. Look at all the stuff that's happening. Who benefited the most from all this stuff? 2021, 2020, who benefited? Us? How many people lost their homes? How many people lost their businesses? And who was buying up all those houses and businesses as everybody was losing them? People didn't benefit nothing. People got sick and people got broke. That's it. So you need to find out who's the healthy rich people are right now, and find out who's the one benefiting from that. But but this shows you the stupidity of the American people, because the American people sit here all day long. I can't stand white people. I can't stand black people. I can't stand Mexicans. Man, the government's killing everybody. Everybody. It doesn't care who you are. Y'all are getting killed by everybody. Everybody's getting the same. Every poor people, whether you're a poor white person, poor black person, poor Mexican, poor Puerto Rican, whatever, you're getting the same treatment. You're getting the same, like we're going to get rid of everybody. That's the whole attitude. So you need to stop fighting the people. Stop, and see who's really benefiting. We sit here and fight each other. And almost time, what are we benefiting from that right now? See, like every time these elections come around, what happens? All of a sudden, racism becomes a big issue. Who cares about, who's sitting there in America talking about racism as a major issue until the elections come up?
College students.
Huh?
College students.
Stupid college students who probably, they're the ones that were racist. And then they're on a guilt trip. I grew up my whole life. I never, and I grew up all around. I grew up in all black schools, and I spent time in all white schools with like maybe one or two black students, and sometimes I was the only one or two white students, and I was one of them, and my sister was the other one. So man, racism was never an issue. It's only an issue when these kuffar start trying to put the people against each other for political purposes. So vote for me, vote for me. You see, that's what I'm saying, man. Our victory as Muslims will never be participating in this type of system. Us being successful as Muslims is to get away from this. If we're going to be in this country, we do our own thing. We don't need to be a part of none of this garbage. We're not voting for no kafir. We're not supporting no kafir. We're not doing anything. We support our own self, support our own businesses. We do our own thing. We don't have nothing to do with these kuffar. That's the best way for us to be successful in this country and outside. If we can't do that here, then we leave. And we leave. It's just as simple as that. Allah almost done.
Still a lot of questions.
One or two and then we go, man. Oh, by the way, the book is finished, right? But there's another book on the way, inshallah. There's a book coming right behind that one.
You want about the
I haven't started. What I'm gonna do is like the next week I'm just gonna give like a regular khutbah, right? But then after that, next week, every Friday after that is going to be the topic of a chapter in that book, because I had a conversation with these brothers in Florida as I was speaking with Mujahid and the brother Mujahid from Jacksonville, not the Mujahid from here, not my son. It's a brother from Jacksonville, so he put me on a conference call with these brothers from the prisons in Florida, and we were just talking about all the issues that they're facing with all the gangs, and the gangs, where these dudes, they become Muslim, but they still keep their gang affiliations, and they still want to represent the gang, but then they want to pray with the Muslims and how they should handle the situation. So the whole book is going to be on that issue. So you're going to see like each khutbah from like, not this week, but then the next Friday after this Friday is going to be like one of those topics, And then each one of that's going to be like a chapter in the book. The khutbah itself is not going to be the chapter, but it's just going to be, I'm going to give the khutbah, then I'll write the chapter. Give the khutbah, so 5 weeks, inshallah, it's 5 chapters, 5 weeks. And then that book will come out probably, inshallah, at the beginning of next year, inshallah.
تستعمل في مثلا يعني بعض الآيات البشرية؟ هل تستعمل بعض الآيات في الكتاب الشريعة؟
What's that?
في الكتاب فقط؟
Yeah, because it's the whole issue is the issue of al-wala' wal-bara, right? So, but there's other issues, There's the issue of, like, number one, Islam being the most complete deen. And if Islam is the complete deen and we understand that means we don't need anything else. We don't need gangs. We don't need any other ideologies. We don't need to mix anything with Islam. Islam is complete in itself. That's the first thing. The second thing is the brotherhood. The only brothers that we have are what? Muslims. We don't take anybody as companions and brothers and close, intimate friends. That's not a Muslim. It's not permissible. You can associate with the kuffar. You deal with them, and like day-to-day dealing with them, and you deal with them justly, and you deal with them with manners, and good character. But you don't take them as like your close friends, and no, they're on, their deen is batil. So you're going to be sitting with them on batil all the time. So that's not permissible. And then, like I said, you got all the other issues, the issues of al-wala' wal-bara. Loving for the sake of Allah and hating for the sake of Allah. And our allegiance is to Allah and His Messenger, not to the kuffar. So Allah musta'an. So that book, inshallah. This book about the memorization of the Quran, inshallah, I'm just waiting for it to get formatted. So once it gets formatted, and I'll have to reread it, just to make sure there's one more time that there's no mistakes, there's still going to be mistakes. I don't care if I read it 30 times. I'll sit here and read it and be like, there's a mistake, there's a mistake. But to like minimize the number of mistakes. Because a person is not supposed to edit his own book. Who's supposed to edit it? Somebody else, man. Because like me, I know what I'm saying. So what happens is I get my voice in my head. So when you get your voice in your head when you're reading, what happens is you're not paying attention to the grammatical. You might make a grammatical mistake. You might have put an S where there shouldn't be an S. Or, you're not paying attention to that because it's your voice. It's you. It's you. Whereas somebody else, they don't have that in their head, so they can focus on the grammar, the spelling. So inshallah khair. But hopefully that book will be done within a week or two, inshallah.
$43 says, similarly to my previous question, I was also gifted a khamsa.
A what?
Khamsa.
Khamsa what? A riyal or what?
It says pendant made of gold and old gold coins with a king's head on them. Can I sell them as they are, or do they have to be melted down or something?
And they're gold coins. You can sell them that's all they're going to buy anyways. They're only going to pay for the gold. They're not going to pay for all the other stuff. So when the people buy it from you, that's what they're buying. They're buying the gold. They don't care about all that other stuff anyway. They're gonna do away with that.
Hadith says, is al-a'ranut considered from the people of Hadith and the people of Sunnah?
I don't, to be honest, I don't know anything really about him. Other than he has good, they're known for doing tahqiq of books. I don't know him as being like a teacher or somebody, like people are like, oh, I'm gonna go sit with him. I don't know anything about him other than, I think he did the tahqiq of like a Riyadh al-Salihin and different books. Maybe even the Muslim. He did the Muslim Imam Ahmed. Who did that? I don't know. I know Ahmed Shakir did one. They might have done another one. I'm not sure, but they did a bunch of books, like the tahqiq of the books. But other than that, I don't. That's it.
That was 2 questions, yeah.
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
It's actually too long.